Hello and welcome to Vocal Bliss for another video. Today I would like to tell you the story of how I actually ended up starting singing. I hope you find it interesting. See you in a moment. Dare to climb boldly, brave that I peak. You'll never know failure if bravely you seek. Music has always been big in my life. I started learning guitar when I was 7, and part of learning guitar was also singing because I was learning how to play songs and accompany myself. So I've always been pretty much singing. And then when I got into my teens, I started to really studying music. So I started studying theory, music theory, solfege, harmony, all those things that you do in music school and conservatory, which is what I did back in Switzerland. And at some point, my teacher realized that my voice was sounding a little funny. And so I went to a doctor, and the doctor found I had nodules on my vocal cords for some reason. So they got treated. I never got surgery, thank God. They got treated and they went away. And then for another few years I was just doing that. I was studying guitar still. I studied violin, which is what I majored in at the conservatory. And then in my early 20s I got into rock music and heavy metal. And I started really wanting to sing, and to sing those super high heavy metal melodies that you hear those singers sing. And I didn't have the technique for it. So I went and looked for a voice teacher, and my mom knew somebody who had studied singing, and so I contacted this woman, and she was an amazing teacher. She was an opera singer, but from the very beginning she understood exactly what I needed. So she never really tried to teach me to sing opera style because she knew I wasn't interested. So all she did, and she told me the very first lesson, she said, there are two things that we could do with your voice. After she heard me sing, she said, we could either work on refining a little bit what you already have, and that would be it, or we could completely start from scratch and rebuild your voice and build a good vocal technique. And me being pretty stubborn and detail-oriented, I decided to go for the second option. And so we started this journey that lasted for about 7 years, where she taught me all the basic techniques of singing. And she often said, you know, once you learn how to place your voice, it doesn't matter what genre you sing, you can pretty much make your voice do whatever you want it to do. And she was really right. She was so amazing because she would come to my concerts, my rock heavy metal concerts, and she was in her mid-60s by then. And she would just come, not because she liked it, but because she wanted to hear what I was doing so that she could figure out how to better help me during our lessons. So she really was an amazing teacher. And she worked with me regularly, weekly, sometimes even twice a week I would go and see her. And so she taught me pretty much all the basics. And then unfortunately she got ill with cancer and she passed away. And so I couldn't continue. But after that I pretty much had a solid foundation. So I continued working on my voice and doing things by myself. And I really got to the point where I was able to sing those super high melodies, and I was having a lot of fun. And then at some point, you know, as it happens to a lot of these bands, we started to calm down, and we went from heavy metal to hard rock to just rock, and then pop rock, and then, you know, we were doing covers of, you know, all kinds of bands that were not necessarily even close to that kind of hard music. And I found out that actually my voice was better suited for that rather than really heavy stuff. And so gradually we started to do more of that. And then after I got married in my early 30s, my wife and I, being both musicians, my wife is a trained flutist and she's been playing flute for decades now, and she really did the career as a freelancer in the San Francisco Bay Area. And so after we met, we were both part of a spiritual movement called Ananda, and the founder of Ananda, who's now passed away, he passed in 2013, the founder of Ananda, besides being an amazing person on all levels, he was very spiritual, very highly advanced as a spiritual person, but he was also a prolific writer and a composer. So he wrote over 400 pieces of music that are currently performed all over the world in the Ananda centers. And this is both instrumental, vocal, there's all kinds of genres that he actually covered for just one composer. It's pretty amazing what he was able to do. But my wife and I focused more and more on performing this music, which is really an uplifting, inspiring kind of music. It's hard for me to describe the genre because it, like I said, it covers different styles, even different cultures. He wrote music in the style of Irish music. He composed songs that are from the Japanese tradition or the Indian tradition, and so he was really able to tune into a certain culture and write music that really sounds like from that country. And so my wife and I started to perform this music together. I would accompany her playing flute, and we would both sing, and we're still doing it. We recently started to actually, instead of going out and performing so much, we were asked to co-direct the ministry of Ananda music worldwide. So we are not only directing a choir here where we live and helping singers and musicians here to sing this music, but we're also in contact with other music directors of Ananda around the world, and we work together. We have a very special celebration coming up this year. We are celebrating 50 years of existence of Ananda, and so a lot of people will be coming here for this celebration, and we're coordinating music for that. It's a week-long event, and we're coordinating music for that and inviting people to join this choir. We're gonna have a choir of, I don't know, about 100 people, probably, very big choir.